Hey everyone, good to see you again. Welcome back to Smash Class. This week we're going to be talking about defending without using your shield. Have you played around with what we talked about last week yet? Using your shield, using your out of shield tools? If so, awesome. This week we're going to be building on top of those ideas. However, we're not going to be talking about shield at all. If you've played around with these ideas, you might have noticed that shielding is a little bit limiting. You're standing still, your shield is depleting, you cannot really do much. So we got to think about other ways to defend so that we don't rely on shield all the time, and it's more of a mix-up between multiple options. Think about it this way, Smash is a platform fighter, so it's all about moving around on the platforms. If you're standing in shield, it's not much moving. So to explain what I'm talking about, let's take it to the in-game view. So you can compare Smash to martial arts in a lot of ways, and blocking is a very important part of a lot of martial arts, we all know that. However, blocking is also a last resort, and it's the same in Smash. You generally don't want to block if you don't have to. If you're blocking, you're slowly getting your shield depleted, you could get shield poked the longer you're blocking, and most importantly, you're not moving around. So one of the best ways to dodge attacks is actually to use your movement. So let's look at a few movement options that are very strong defensively. The first and most important one is to dash back. So this is very simple, but a lot of people kind of overlook this. But say that Joker were to attack me on my current position. As you can see, I can dash back and he will miss me. So this is one of the best ways to defend yourself, is by simply not being where your opponent expects you to be. So by moving around and keeping your movement ambiguous, you're making it hard for your opponent to hit you, so you don't even have to shield. And when you don't have to shield, you can still counterattack. So remember, we talked a lot about the out of shield tools and how they can punish your opponent for doing some of the moves that have a little bit more recovery. You can actually punish a lot more simply by making your opponent whiff, just like this. As you can see, I dashed away, I waited for the attack to complete, and then I punished him with a dash attack. So simply not being there for your opponent to attack is one of the best ways to punish your opponent. That said, dash back is not the only option to not be where your opponent thought that you were going to be. Another one that is very important is the full hop. So we talked about jumping and how there's various jump heights. Well, if dash back is a horizontal way to avoid the opponent, full hop is a vertical way to avoid the opponent. Oftentimes we do not use short hop because they can still get caught by a lot of attacks. So as you can see right here, even if I try to jump, he just hits me out of the air. However, if I try to full hop, it's a very fast acceleration and I simply avoid his attack entirely. So full hopping is a great alternative because if you start dashing away from the opponent, if the opponent is faster especially, they can simply try to aim their attack a little bit further out, try to read into your movements. And full hop is just a great alternative that accomplishes a lot of the same. So with full hops, you can actually get a landing aerial and from there oftentimes start a combo. Like for example, you get a nair, grab, and then you combo them from there. 30% just for jumping over the opponent's attack. So those are the two standard options, are dashing back to not be where your opponent thinks you're going to be, and full hopping to not be where your opponent thinks they're going to be. Both of them have weaknesses, like if they're trying to catch you in the air, then a full hop is obviously not going to help you out much. So if they have an attack like, for example, Joker's neutral air, which spins around and actually hits quite high, let me demonstrate that for you. So as you can see, he spins around and he can often catch you in the air quite easily. So against a move like that, I recommend dashing back. However, if it's a move like a dash attack, you can actually often overshoot it and make sure that you cannot even dash away from it. So if I try to hit Mario at his current position, my dash attack goes so far that even if I were to dash back, it would still catch it. So in those situations, it would be better to jump over. So think about how the opponent is approaching you. Is he going to be attacking you vertically, in which case I would say play around it horizontally, or is he going to attack you horizontally, in which case play against it vertically? So those are the two most important options. They are the most important because they're the most flexible. If you dash back, you can always dash back forward, you can dash back and shield, you can dash back and jump, you can dash back and attack, you can jump and attack, you can jump and air dodge, you can jump and double jump. You can do so many things from these options. However, there are a few other options that you need to know about that are also going to be useful. However, they're also going to be more committal in the sense that they have longer animation, and they are rolls and spot dodges. So we talked about shield last time, but out of your shield you can also roll and spot dodge in place. So these are three options: roll in, roll out, and spot dodge. It is important to differentiate the rolls because a roll forward is faster than a roll backwards. It's pretty significant, so keep that in mind. So if your opponent is coming at you, you can always try to roll out of the way or dodge the attack and then counterattack. However, these options can both be waited out and punished. and oftentimes at a high level, if your opponent can react to what you're doing, you're already in a weaker position. Why? Because again, when I dash back, they cannot react to it. By the time they've reacted to it, it's already too late. Your opponent will often want to try to react, because if they can react to something, they win instantaneously. It's kind of like playing RPS, but one of the players can react to the other. Of course, the player that can react will always win to the RPS situation. We'll go more in depth on that topic in a later episode though. For now, just keep in mind, when you roll and spot dodge, you are committing to quite a long animation that a good player will be able to punish you for. So one thing to keep in mind about these options is that while rolls move you, which add an additional layer of defense, a spot dodge actually can be cancelled. So a spot dodge lasts way less long, and if you immediately do an attack out of the spot dodge, it will actually come out faster. So a normal spot dodge in frames is about 25 frames, but if you cancel it, you can cancel it on frame 20. So your attack will come out 5 frames faster if you do it immediately after spot dodging. If you don't do an attack afterwards, then it's going to be as slow as normal, the full 25 frames. Now, the final thing to consider about these rolls and dodges is that because they last longer, it's harder to counterattack. So whereas you could dash away and then come back into dash attack and punish a move like that, if you use a roll, you're often too late to come back in and punish. So keep that in mind. While they are better at defending, they are worse at counter-attacking. Of course, one final thing to mention, if you're ever in the air and you do need to defend, air dodge is your friend. It's not an alternative to shielding, it's more of a last resort because you cannot shield in the air in the first place. So start moving around, start getting better at defending without using your shield. Things like dash dancing, like this, back and forth, so that your positioning is constantly ambiguous, or utilizing jumps and mixing up the way you move around in the air, using your full hops to get over the opponent, stuff like that, extremely important. Of course guys, thank you so much for watching another episode of Smash Class. Thank you so much. Hope you guys enjoy the content. Be sure to tune in next week for some more Smash goodness. We're going to be ramping up the complexity and we're going to talk about some conceptual, some abstract topics. I hope you guys are going to be there for that next week. Have a great day and stay smart.